Welcome to a brand new Liverpool big news video, and it looks like Liverpool may have found their new sporting director from next season, because the Bournemouth technical director Richard Hughes has just announced that he will be leaving the club at the end of the season, and he is heavily linked with taking over the Liverpool sporting director job, as well as Michael Edwards is heavily linked with that, but more on that later, and we will have some major updates in the Xabi Alonso to Liverpool managerial hunt race, whatever you want to call it. So guys, if you enjoy these transfer news and the Liverpool news update videos, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new around here, and turn on the bell notifications so you never miss the latest updates on Liverpool FC. So AS Roma and Liverpool have been linked with getting Richard Hughes as their new sporting director. AS Roma are also looking for a new sporting director, but AS Roma sources downplay a move for Richard Hughes. Ben Jacobs is reporting, and also apparently Richard Hughes already knows his next role, so he could be in line to take over the sporting director role at Liverpool, which is very, very promising. The Bild newspaper also reports that Xabi Alonso has not signaled his willingness to join Bayern Munich yet. And by the way, a caveat to yesterday's video: after I made the video, Bayern came out and said that they categorically deny being in talks with Xabi Alonso to take over as Bayern Munich manager next season. They probably didn't want the smoke, the hate coming from all kinds of German journalists and media outlets and the fans, because it would be quite disrespectful and disgraceful for Bayern Munich to be in talks with their direct title rivals manager Xabi Alonso. Max Eberl and Christoph Freund are exploring alternatives to Xabi Alonso. They are checking various parameters, and Sebastian Hughes is high on the list. Some see him as a real alternative to Xabi Alonso. I'm not really familiar with all the German managers and coaches, so excuse me if I don't know a lot about Sebastian Hughes, but let's talk about Richard Hughes, who is leaving Bournemouth at the end of the season. Hughes' future has been made clear towards the end of last year, allowing Bournemouth sufficient time to restructure their sporting department. This is what Jacob Tanswell is reporting in The Athletic. Hughes is leaving to pursue a new challenge, and he has been strongly linked with a move to Roma, as well as vacancies at Liverpool and Newcastle United. And Bournemouth confirmed the news in a club statement yesterday. He said, "I'm very grateful," the Bournemouth owner and chairman Bill Foley said, "I'm very grateful for Richard's outstanding service to this football club. His contribution in helping to deliver competitive teams for us over the years is no better highlighted than by our status as a Premier League club for 7 of the last 9 seasons. I wish him the very best for the future." Since he retired from playing football, Hughes has been part of the club's recruitment team, and he was later promoted to the role of technical director. So he was overseeing the Bournemouth transfers, and I think Bournemouth had gradually built up their squad in a very, very good way, signing very promising young players. My favorite is Milos Kerkez, the Hungarian left back, but they signed a lot of very promising youngsters like Justin Kluivert and Sinistero and others. He spent time in Italy as a youth player with Atalanta, and his knowledge of Italy and ability to navigate that market helped Bournemouth's efforts, so signed several players from the Serie A. Hughes is also well thought of in recruitment circles, both in England and in Europe. He can speak other languages, and he has been praised for Bournemouth's recruitment in the recent years. So I think Richard Hughes would be a fantastic appointment as a new sporting director, but Michael Edwards has not been ruled out yet. Liverpool are trying to persuade Michael Edwards to come back and take over the new sporting director role at Liverpool, but he will probably maybe even be having added responsibility. And some are saying that Michael Edwards will only come back if he is getting a minority stake in FSG, just like LeBron James. Maybe getting 1 to 5% ownership of FSG would definitely persuade Michael Edwards to take on this very, very significant role. He could oversee a lot of the football operations that is going on at Liverpool FC. And Steve McManaman revealed that he spoke to Michael Edwards about returning to Liverpool. This is what he said. They should try and bring Michael Edwards back. Of course they should. Funny enough, I spoke to him the other day about it as well, because he lives next to me and I see him regularly. I don't know in what capacity they would want to bring him back. I don't know. I think Michael has moved on from just being a sporting director. He hasn't said that to me personally, but he couldn't just go back to the same role that he was doing for a long time at Liverpool. I think he would need more. I don't know whether he needs a new challenge. In the past comments he's made, it's always the case that he needs a new challenge. So I think Michael Edwards would be, of course, a fantastic appointment, and maybe Michael Edwards will be the overall overseer of football operations, and the level below him would be the sporting director or technical director Richard Hughes, coming in from Bournemouth. Miguel Delaney also reports that Barcelona are set to steal a march on Ruben Amorim, the sporting manager, who of course is on the shortlist for Liverpool's managerial hunt. But it looks like he emerged as Barcelona's top choice, with Liverpool and Bayern Munich set to prioritize Xabi Alonso. You know what? I'm not too bothered about this. I think Xabi Alonso is Liverpool's first choice, but in case we don't get him, we could have Ruben Amorim, Roberto De Zerbi, Julian Nagelsmann and others, but I think Xabi Alonso is the most suited to the role. And what I also love about Richard Hughes is he speaks 3 languages very fluently, so he would be an absolutely terrific appointment as a sporting director at Liverpool because of his expertise already in the Italian market, in the English market. And interestingly, the former sporting director at Roma, Frederic Massara, is another name who has been linked with Liverpool. The current AC Milan chief and Nice's Florent Ghisolfi are also linked with the Liverpool sporting director job, and the Daily Mail has reported that West Ham chief Tim Steidten is also a potential contender. So Liverpool will probably finalize this sporting director role in the next month or so. That's why the rumors are circulating about a lot of, different people linked with the sporting director job. So just a little bit more background on Richard Hughes. Let's get to know him a bit more together with you guys. So Richard Hughes was born in Scotland, but he grew up in Italy. He speaks fluent Italian because of course, growing up in Italy, which is notable as Roma looks for a replacement for Thiago Pinto. He turned down the chance to join AC Milan at the age of 10, and when he was 13 he joined Atalanta's academy, but he moved back to the UK after a year with the club and he joined the Arsenal academy. He spent 5 years at Arsenal, signing a professional contract but never making a first team appearance. He left the club in 1998 when he was just 19 years old. After leaving Arsenal, Hughes quickly joined Bournemouth, where he spent 4 years playing from 98 to 2002, but Bournemouth were in the 3rd tier of English football back then. So it shows how much progress Bournemouth made, that now they are a regular Premier League side. He established himself as a first team regular and 4 years at the club. After that he joined Portsmouth in the summer of 2002. He was loaned out to Grimsby. Ironically, his first goal was against Liverpool, knocking Liverpool out of the FA Cup in February 2004. He was called up to Scotland shortly after. He had a short-lived international career, playing 5 times for the Scotland national team. And you know what? I already watched the Premier League back in 2003-2004. So I remember this guy, looking at his picture now in a Portsmouth shirt, because Portsmouth were in the Premier League. And Hughes helped Portsmouth win the FA Cup in 2007-2008, and he made over 100 appearances for Portsmouth, including 114 in the Premier League. And then he rejoined Bournemouth in 2012 for 2 seasons, and after playing 2 seasons for Bournemouth he retired, and he was handed a role behind the scenes by Eddie Howe, who was then the manager of Bournemouth. And he actually thrived in this role in player recruitment. Hughes admits that he never saw himself as a a guy who was taking over such a role. But this is what he said: I didn't necessarily have ambitions to work in the recruitment side of football when I was a player. I was a student of the game, loved analyzing the game, loved having an opinion and sharing it with people. And I found myself doing all that in recruitment. Ever since then, I've had very little chance to come up for air because it's been one window after another. I've learned that it's a job that never really sleeps. When one window shuts, you are already preparing for the next one, especially when you are working for a manager who is as demanding for progression as Eddie Howe is. And Hughes also outlined what he looks for in players in that interview. Character and attitude is such a huge aspect of the players we have and the culture that Eddie Howe instilled in the club. That means that finding information out about a player beyond what you can see in the 90 minutes is more important. That's something which we have always been big on, but we have increased our efforts in finding out as much as we can about individuals and that we are bringing into the building. It's not a science because in very few cases can you answer exactly what a player is going to be like under a manager at a club at any given time, as well as the circumstances that affect the happiness, mood and performances of a player. Of course, it's very complex, just like life is. They are all things that to an extent aren't in your control, but you have to have as much information as possible when you make that signing. And hopefully, as we have gone on and got more experienced in this side of things, we have been able to do that better than when we started. And it's all about experience. Richard Hughes has been doing this for many years now. And he is saying that the most satisfaction that he's getting in his job is when a signing actually happens. By the time the player's playing a game, you don't look at them as a new signing because you are working on something else. You are never stopping. If a signing is successful, it's not down to the scouting process alone. There are so many factors going in to how a player plays. Thinking back, some of the signings that I have played a part in, one of them in particular was not a successful one, and I could do this job for another 20 years. I wouldn't make a signing as tough as this one, but it didn't work out. If you become too involved in whether a signing is a success or failure, you are starting to wrestle with things that you can't completely control, and that's not a good emotion to have. So I hope that you guys could get into more of an insight into how Richard Hughes thinks, what kind of attitude he has towards player recruitment, and hopefully he can become a successful sporting director if Liverpool appoint him in that role. He's 44 years old, so he has plenty of years in him in football, and I like that he's very loyal. So he only played for two clubs on a permanent basis, Bournemouth and Portsmouth. He was on loan at Grimsby Town for one season, but other than that, he played all his career at two clubs. So I love how loyal he is, and he already won the FA Cup with Portsmouth, but hopefully if he can come in at Liverpool, he can help Liverpool win many more trophies. Also, a lot of very reputable journalists said that Liverpool will know who their sporting director will be going forward from the summer in March. So Liverpool have around 3 weeks to complete this appointment. And the fact that Richard Hughes already announced that he's leaving Bournemouth, and he said that he already knows his next role, is hinting towards a scenario where we will appoint Richard Hughes from the summer as a new sporting director, and potentially we could appoint Michael Edwards as an overseer of football operations at Liverpool FC. And if we get Xabi Alonso as our new manager, I think that's the perfect setup going forward for Liverpool to keep continuing being successful. I'm really looking forward to the Europa League game tomorrow, Sparta Prague against Liverpool. I really hope that Salah can take a part in that game and get his fitness and match sharpness up, because I think it's crucial that Salah plays the Liverpool-Man City game, which could ultimately decide the title. That result, it would be absolutely massive for Liverpool if we could win that game, and Salah starting would help Liverpool do that. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.